to welcome everybody to the Town of West Bath February Planning Board meeting. My name is Darlene Estabrook. I am the chair of the Planning Board. If you guys would introduce themselves, please.
I'm Jim Williams. Gabe Whitney. Jerry Mitchell.
And we have our Code Enforcement Officer, John Bean, here, and recording our minutes is Carly Perry, the Town Clerk, and our Selectman Liaison, Suzanne Andresa. Our first order of business is to establish a quorum. We require 3 board members to establish a quorum. We have 4 this evening, so we do have a quorum. The next agenda item is amendments to the agenda. Would anyone on the board like to amend the agenda in any way? Hearing none, there's no amendments to the agenda. We have our first applicant, Maine Towing LLC. It's a new business on Foster's Point Road. Is that you, sir?
Yes, it is.
If you'd like to come up front.
Yep.
And state your name for the record and tell us a little bit about what you're wanting to do.
All right, my name is Derek. I'm on behalf of Maine Towing LLC. Basically, what we do is we recover people that are stuck in a location, in a spot that is unsafe, and we try to get there in a timely manner. I try to use all the resources that is available to us to make it as safe as possible. That is our sole purpose, is to get anybody that's stuck on the side of the road back up on the road.
Mm-hmm. And it was Derek, what was your last name?
My last name is Barker.
Barker.
Yep. And I'm representing Michael Stowe. I'm the general manager.
Okay.
Basically what we do is we tow cars, we unlock cars, we fuel up vehicles. We also will give them other resources which facilities that we seem fit, that would fit in to other communities. Basically we want to make sure that we take care of our own first, basically, you know, keep it local, obviously. And if we have to outsource from there on, you know, we continue on from there. That's my main purpose here, is being here, is to help people out.
Perfect. So I see in the information that we have here that...
You're welcome to just pull a chair.
Yeah, you can,
All right.
yeah, you can pull a
Just
chair.
relax.
All right.
Right, I see that you've got your letter of authorization from the owner of the building, Mr. Bonzagni.
Correct.
So we have that. It's just necessary since you don't own the building.
Correct. Yep.
And you guys are on 388 State Road, so it's the little building on the corner there.
Correct. Yes,
Across the street from the store.
Yep.
It's zoned business and commercial. And you're looking to put a towing company on that corner.
Correct.
So one of the things that we usually ask is, what's the area that you're going to be using? I see here it shows the building.
Yes, correct. We'd be using the building space for office space, basically to let other people from the public in to accept money and to definitely retrieve. What we do is we set up a key box, and say for instance on the wall, and when the vehicle comes in, I report it, the year, make, and model, what day, which company has sent me to retrieve the vehicle, and I want to store the vehicle at the facility. Not for as many as I can, you know, it's basically, by law, it's $35 a day, you know, depending on which facility, whether it be the local or the state police is usually $50 for storage. And I really don't have much room, so I obviously need to play by the rules and ask your permission to be able to put up a gate. So that way I can stow some of the vehicles away, and then I'll be able to release the vehicles. And then I'll also be putting it back into our community as well.
Alright, so the building is really dispatch and just operations?
Correct, yes.
Are you using the entire building, that little building?
Yes, we are trying to use that entire building.
Okay.
I store my batteries in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also store, you know, equipment as far as chains, binders, basically all my legal equipment, you know, filing cabinet, desk, phone equipment. I also have a backspace out back there that I was designing in for a cafeteria for, you know, for other employees to come aboard. That was my main goal, was to draw more help. That's my overall goal.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. The application says that the building's 27 by 30, it's just, we have to have for record the size,
Sure.
that sort of thing,
Yeah.
so.
Sure.
So you had on here that you're using the building,
Correct.
you're also using, or you have a parking area kind of out in behind, and it says 27 by 94, is that about right?
Yes, that seems exactly right to me.
Is that the area of your fence that you're gonna put in?
Yes, that would be the area that I would need the fence, fenced in, because briefly what happens is they need to go in there for their investigation, whether either pull fingerprints or whatever the case may be, but I do not touch what's inside the vehicles. That's one of the pet peeves that I have, that's why I need a lock and a gate, with your permission, if we want to continue to move forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think as far as gates go, that there's a setback on the property where it needs to be.
Yes.
John, had you gone over and taken a look to try to help him cite the fence or anything? Had you asked?
I haven't, no, not for it.
I haven't talked to him about a fence.
Okay, all right.
What's the setback on a fence?
There isn't.
Oh, there's no setback on a fence?
Think about a fence, like somebody's
No.
fences they are, right, you're at the
Right.
property.
No, that's true, you're right, there's no setback on a fence. I just see on here the property line's kind of got like a really weird jag on it,
Yeah.
and that's why I was
Yeah.
wondering if going and assisting him might
Oh,
help.
I'd be happy to.
With that.
No problem.
It's,
You're right, it does.
it's got a weird kind of jag on it,
Oh,
so.
that's that way, but that's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so you do not need to ask us permission to put up a fence.
Okay,
What we're really looking for is, where are you putting your business?
Yeah,
To make
sure.
sure that you're not having any toxic or incinerator or anything like
Sure.
that. That you have enough parking and that it's off the street for safety,
Sure.
which you have. I mean, that's been a business down there with a parking lot
Okay.
forever. As long as
all right,
everyone's in there trying to make sure no one's parking like on the street.
okay,
Yeah, as far as fence, you don't really need permission for that.
okay,
That's more from Mr. Bonzagni.
sure.
This is just to watch for safety for,
Yeah, definitely.
let me see the other things. So you do have parking, trash, refuse.
Yeah, I have the local, let's see, we have Rogers
Mhm.
for our disposal services, and that's who I've been working with. Good people, and we have that out back.
So you got a dumpster.
Yes,
Do you ever have any, I'm just thinking of like toxic things like gas and things like that.
Well, you mentioned batteries, are these starting vehicles, like starter batteries?
correct, they're all sealed. Anyone that goes in a closed environment, there is accessories that come with the battery that's right on the inside that, it would be a vent tube that I put inside the vehicles. So that way, if the trunk's ever closed or ever the battery's underneath the seat or what case may be, there's add-ons so it vents to a tube and the tube vents out.
Yes, it sounds like you're keeping really good track of those types of things. It's more environmental. If you've got a car coming in that was in a crash and it's leaking gas or
Correct.
oil.
Correct, my
You
stove,
want to make sure you spill protection and stuff.
my eye wash station is up, first aid kits are up, fire extinguisher is up, business hours are up. I just would like to continue to work forward.
Mhm. And it looks like, John, you've been over to look at the building?
Yeah,
And
that's
approved
just a
it?
standard
Standard form from the,
standard form, yeah. With
Fire
requirements,
chief?
Yeah.
so, needs an exit sign, recommend one smoke detector, recommend 1 5-pound ABC fire extinguisher. So normally do you just go back and double check after? Yeah, okay. All right. Does anyone questions for Mr. Barker on his
So how many tow
application?
trucks do you have?
Right now, at the moment, we have 3.
Okay,
And basically, before I start any process, we work through with a company that's called, we branch off, it's called AAA, and they're called Northern New England, and they're affiliated associates. Now, what I do is before so can I basically explain the situation? Most of the time, the vehicle's already in an accident, okay? So when they call for us, I have to get there and make sure that the vehicle's not on fire, there's nothing should
Sure.
burn. So I make sure that I take out the key.
so you just have 3 tow trucks, are you gonna add another 1 or 2, do you think?
Yeah, down the road, that's the main goal, yes,
Okay.
would be that.
So you'd have maybe 5.
Right,
Or
right, yeah,
they'd probably be on the road most of the time anyway.
correct, yes, yeah.
So, if the vehicle's in an accident, will you store it in the yard there?
Yes, I would, yes, I would.
Okay,
That's what I'm trying to establish, I would say. And I really do not store the vehicle there that long, because usually the insurance company has it moved right away.
okay.
What I'm looking for is the 2 or 3 days of buffer. Sometimes it turns into a couple weeks, but it never usually turns more than a month. The ones that are under investigation for other things, I'm not allowed to say.
So you could, I mean, what would be how many vehicles would you have stored there approximately? A dozen,
Yeah, roughly, rough estimate would be a dozen, 12.
and how many employees do you have inside?
Right now we have, well, actually we have 8 employees right now.
Okay.
So we have
But
4.
they're not all working all the time?
Right, correct,
Yeah,
correct.
okay. And the fence you're planning, how tall is that gonna be? Is it gonna be like a cyclone with a
Yeah.
barbed wire on top? or
Yeah,
something?
yes, I was just basically leaning for a metal fence, basically to put a metal fence and just keep them away and put my security systems up to make sure that, I can call the law, the authorities, that, if they decide to break in, that's on them.
Yeah,
That I don't want that to happen, so that way I have a chain of command that I can work back through and let them deal with the consequences.
so this area where you're gonna have the vehicles parked,
Yeah.
that you towed, will that be paved?
Eventually, I'd like to have it paved, yes, I would.
That's all I have.
Where are you gonna be parking the tow trucks when they're not in use?
So, basically, I'll explain that in a brief detail there. So what happens is, we get a call. So, how the procedure goes is it works through our network with the dispatch. We get it through a dispatch, and then we dispatch out the call. They have cell phones, they have tablets, they have other means of communications that I dispatch them out the call. They write down a hard copy where it is, who, what, when, where, and why. I usually have them inform the member that they're on their way. It goes through the next process where we hit en route, it's called, and then we show up on scene. And the next step was hit on scene. So that way that they know that what we're doing. And when and then before we touch any part of the vehicle, I have them sign what is called a damage waiver, that are not reliable.
So the vehicles are the tow trucks most of the time at the facility?
Correct.
Or are they at somebody's home, or
I would say like 80% of the time they're at somebody's home because they're always moving.
they're always on call?
Yes, they're always on call, so I want to keep that moving. I just have very few limited personnel in the office at this time. I would like to, to see that grow a little bit more. But the other thing is, I need to respect you guys' space. This is what you do. I'm presenting it to you, so fire away. Discrepancies with how the system works, I would say.
It sounds like most of the time the tow trucks are really not at the yard unless they're dropping a car off?
Correct.
Okay.
And that would be one of my concerns about how I would want to angle that way to come in there, because I do not want to, out there on the main road, cause an accident, back it in with another vehicle.
Sure.
So it just becomes a little bit of an interest rate where I just have to just go back around.
Sure.
Yeah, or a bigger fenced area or something.
Correct.
For
Yeah.
inside instead of
Yep,
for
correct.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about safety, really.
Yes,
And
yes.
it sounds like you're all over that.
Yes,
So-
that's what I really stand for.
So that's good.
I'm good.
Anything, Jerry?
So would he have to come back to see us before he pays?
Before he paves,
You know, this is one thing we look at is,
right,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to approve that tonight?
well, he doesn't, you're not proposing any paving or anything at
I
this
don't have my
point.
budget up
Yeah,
yet, my
no.
proposal yet.
Right,
Okay.
really good point. If any commercial space is going to be paving something which is gravel or
Sure.
lawn, before it's actually done, have to come back into the
Okay,
board to get approval of that change,
okay,
because it affects stormwater and all kinds of DEP rules, and
sure,
there are setbacks to pavement
okay,
that, there isn't a setback for the fence, but there is setbacks for pavement and buildings and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's a good point, you have to come back before you
Sure.
start to do that.
sure.
And
Tony,
it's not a big,
I just,
and it would be Tony probably, because,
I became
yeah,
aware of that, the owner, because we did discuss it briefly. And I
Right.
told him that he'd be coming,
Yeah.
and if you guys decided to go that direction.
perfect, thank you very much, that's good.
Thank you.
Great question. If there are no other questions?
Motion to approve as, the only thing I was wondering if we should cross off number one, because like, that doesn't really affect us, I just don't want anybody to think, down the road that you're limited to that
Oh,
size.
the parking area?
Parking area,
Okay.
just remember that, I guess.
Yeah,
That, you know, like it's something to do with us, right, what he does for a parking, a fenced in area, we don't care.
Okay?
That's all, just so, but I don't care. What is it? Like he just wrote down, like number one, he's got a
It's on the
27,
map.
a 27 by 94, and like, and, you know, he can make it the whole property really if you wanted, I think, right?
yes,
Well,
Thank
you've got the coverage, which is different. You have to keep within a certain percentage of the coverage. I guess, I think what you're trying to say is that if you decide that you need more than 27 by 94, I mean, the whole place is almost like a parking lot.
right,
You can utilize that.
correct.
If you're going to turn around and wanna pave that, then that's when you really have to come in, we have to make sure it
No, we don't, we
takes
don't want
care
to
of that
pay yet.
40%
Yeah, okay,
coverage
right, yeah.
kind of thing.
Yep,
So, just something to know
okay,
for later.
thank you.
Do you have to cut trees to do your parking area? What's out back there? It's out, like they used to store docks out there.
Right, yeah, there's nothing out there that I need to cut down right now.
Yeah, they clear cut that a while ago and come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happened a few
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, so,
Okay, I'm
alright.
good.
So Jerry has a motion to approve the application as presented, and it's been seconded by Jim. Any further discussion? Any questions from the audience of Mr. Barker and his application? All right, having seen none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? And you have a unanimous yes.
Thank you.
And I need to fill out a form for you so that you have your approval. And Carly, I don't think I have any. Do you have any available?
There might be some of that, that folder that we back.
So that's just a authorization from the owner, this guy to speak for him.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
So
I'll put
there's,
it together, yeah.
there's two now.
Absolutely, thank
Just to
you.
play it on the safe side.
Thank you.
I know, it's the devil's in the details, right?
Yes, always.
All right, just be one moment there. Today is the 14th.
Oh, we didn't. Copy of the stairs is down here. They're gonna be used someday, I don't know. I don't mind running the stairs more. Well, I still don't know. I think this or something.
I have you too. What are you saying?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Approve without condition. And then, we'll get you a copy of this, Mr. Barker.
Thank you.
Yeah, run up right now.
And you should be all set.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, good
Good
luck.
luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, so this is all the original stuff for that. Alright. Carly, those are all the originals for that? Sorry, Jerry, I didn't mean to jump on you. So, next applicant we have on our agenda is American Steel Aluminum Commercial Solar Project.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you, sir?
Well, thanks, how are you?
Can you state your name for the,
Yep, my name is Alex Roberts-Brill. I work with Revision Energy. I'm here on behalf of American Steel Aluminum LLC. An agent authorization letter is in the packet.
Yep.
And a supplemental agent authorization letter was sent last week. On
Alex,
his behalf.
could I just get your last name again?
Yeah, Roberts-Perel,
Roberts Perel.
and I'm happy to spell it out. There's a hyphen in between, and the Perel is P-I-E-R-E-L.
P-I-R-E-L-L, thank you so much.
P-I-E-R. Yeah.
P-I-E-R-E-L.
Okay, sorry, I missed the E.
But it probably doesn't matter too much.
Thank you.
Oh, it's gotta go in a minute, so, there we go, alright. Sorry.
No problem. All set? Can I
Yes,
get-
yes, please.
Alright, so this is
Let's do
a
it.
completely roof-mounted solar project, coordinated with John a little bit on just the interpretation of your ordinances, and he said to play it safe, we would come to the planning board. The project will be 541.92 kilowatts DC, 390 kilowatts AC. And to go back, this is at the new American Steel facility at 1 American Drive, just off of Route 1. The modules will be completely flush mounted on the ballasted wrapping system on the roof, so there will be no visibility of the actual array from ground level or any of the surrounding roadways.
When you say flush run, you mean flat?
Like
Yep.
horizontal?
Yeah, it's a flat roof
Mm-hmm.
up there, and the ballasted system is essentially rows of trays where the modules lay on the trays affixed to those. A very low tilt, but.
So they won't be tipped
Oh.
towards the south,
No,
35 degrees or
Usually,
whatever that number is?
just because it's a flat roof,
Okay.
it's not like a ground mounted array where you need that extreme tilt, so it's much more gentle. And the ballast system is essentially rows of these plastic trays with concrete blocks and fixed points where the racking manufacturer requires it, and then they just connect module to module and there. So I think when you all saw the site plan review for this actual structure, they had indicated that they had planned for a solar array from their initial design. So we're at that point now. The modules will fill most of the roof and are designed around the existing mechanical systems up there. There are adequate walkways for fire code requirements and safety access throughout the array. The remaining equipment associated with the array, the AC gear, combiner, inverter, will all be on the southern, I guess, exterior wall by the existing CMP pad mounted transformer. And that's where the interconnection of the project to the CMP utility will occur. There will be no new overhead or underground brought into the site. Everything needed on the CMP side is already existing. I am happy to walk through any of the application components or questions that you might have.
perfect. So, our section on solar energy systems is page 59 or so in the book for the requirements. If you guys are looking for that, it's, we have a new member, Alex, so we're
Yep, no.
doing a little
And I,
teaching at the same time. Trying to put you on.
Yep.
Yep, there you go.
yeah, and each of the requirements in your large solar energy systems ordinance are addressed individually on the 8th page of the application.
Yeah, I took a look at this and really appreciated how you went down through and addressed everything
Yeah, no
really
problem.
well.
Try to
which is great.
roadmap it out for.
Yeah, and
for-
I think that this is the very first solar that we've done here as far as having it come through for approval. We've had some other companies looking at different properties and things, but,
Yeah.
so this is our first one. And some of this stuff is geared towards on the ground,
Yeah.
structures, so
Yeah, and John.
some of this just doesn't apply.
Yep, yeah, and I tried to call out where it didn't apply as opposed to just leaving it blank.
Right,
And John had, I think, come to the conclusion that we should just come to planning board based on the language in the ordinance around where the energy goes. I think the ordinance reads something like a project where the power is distributed back to the utility, defines a commercial array. So American Steel will own this array and they will use all the power, but it will be credited to their accounts both at this facility as well as facilities in Portland, South Portland. So it's not the same format as like a community solar farm where there's lots of different users that are buying power from somebody. In this case, American Steel will own the system, but because of the metering, it will go out to distribution, but then everything credits their own accounts, both in West Bath and South Portland. So that's how the power is being used.
right, it's very smart, it's very smart. Alright.
Is that the whole net metering thing though?
Yeah, so this is a tariff rate net metering, so it's a new service, and that's what creates the power is essentially distributed, whereas the other common practice is more similar to like what you'd see at a residential system, so it's like behind the meter, you'd say.
What do you think happens if they ever get rid of the net metering thing? What would happen like this? What would you have to
Well,
take part of it down?
they have a net metering agreement that will be valid through the life of the system, so because of where this project is with CMP, which is fully approved, they should be safe against legislative changes. If the legislature makes changes in the next year, projects 2 years from now will be under different rules.
Yeah, so they've gone, or I'm sorry, you've gone to CMP already with this project and CMP is totally signed off on it and they're ready to go.
The American Steel has what's called an interconnection agreement in place. The project's been evaluated by CMP's distribution engineers to say it can safely interconnect to their distribution systems.
Gotcha.
So it has an interconnection agreement in place. It's been studied and approved. The CMP service team has had a field planner on site to confirm it'll interconnect at the existing transformer with no additional upgrades. And they have a net energy billing agreement, which says CMP will allocate the generation and those credits back to the account. So they're all set on the utility side.
Perfect. Do you guys have questions, or do you want Alex to go through the requirements? Because he's done a really good summary of each one of our points that have to be met for the large solar energy system. You want to go through those first, and then you can have your questions
Yeah.
afterwards?
Yeah, as questions come up.
Yeah? Is that work?
Sure. Do you want to read through, or would you like me to?
Feel free.
Okay, sure. And
Feel free to summarize.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't need to be verbatim, just, you know.
I can maybe condense a few. So the first couple of, I guess this is going back again, large solar energy system requirements. The first two are to comply with certain codes and requirements. The National Electric Code, NFPA, and building codes are referenced in the first sheet of the plans, and the plans are stamped by electrical engineer for the safety and review, and John has also provided his input as the fire chief Like I said, there won't actually be any new utility lines. All the existing lines are underground, so that's all set. The system to be designed and located to minimize reflective glare towards adjacent properties. Again, is a roof mount, flush mounted system. It won't be visible from any of the surrounding abutters or roadways. The project's also been screened through the FAA and doesn't require a formal glare analysis. Like I said, it is flush mounted and I think below the higher points of the roof, so it's not exceeding the existing maximum building height. In terms of signage, there's no large prominent signs. The only signs involved with the project are essentially warning signs for voltage and electrical gear, small and just in compliance with NEC.
Will there be a fence around the perimeter of the roof?
No, there will not need to be one.
Not a safety or operation?
No, because it's a roof mounted system, there's no requirements to put it.
So if people are working up there, you don't need to be concerned about walking off the building or something?
No, I think there's a whole, I know that I probably could have done one large sheet and some smaller sheets for you to actually handle that show walkways. There's about 4 to 6 feet.
Well, I can
around.
see them, yeah.
Yeah, so around the full perimeter, so you can circumnavigate and walk through the array
Okay.
safely.
Okay.
And yeah, fences are required for National Electric Code on the ground now, but we don't need to do on the fence. And it's more about security than anything, so
Yeah.
that high in the air, it's not a concern. I can carry on, so like I just said, a fence won't be required for this roof mount system. If the last one is that if the system does not produce with a continuous 12-month period, that it's removed and decommissioned, and so American Steel is fine with that. It's not an anticipated problem. The system will have an annual operation and maintenance plan where any systems are detected kind of through a remote, mostly web-based system, and then can be addressed pretty efficiently, as well as probably a once or twice annual visit just for upkeep. So.
And I think that was put in there more worrying about an array on the ground.
Yep.
Where someone just leaves the property
Yep.
and
Yeah,
abandons it, and then you're stuck with solar panels, but this is on the top of their building, so it's really
yeah, and that's a common
applies,
addition
doesn't apply.
to most solar ordinances now. And as you probably know, any ground mount over 3 acres is also requires a DEP decommissioning permit now, which helps protect towns as well. So, again, agree to that, but shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I think that concludes the solar specific requirements, and then everything else just is down to any other requirements you want to talk about. But again, happy to answer any questions there.
Any questions on any of that?
Jonathan, you've looked at this with the applicant and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah, do you have any concerns about fire hazards with that? I mean, it's fairly, there's a lot of arrays up there.
Right.
But
No, I don't.
a lot of voltage, but it's gonna be all National Electric Code and, yeah.
The only thing that I wonder about, John, is, and this is like not planning board related, but like say you have a fire there, right? You might call up, if the building catches on fire, you may call CMP and they shut the power down, right? And like with solar panels, the power doesn't go away. You know what I'm saying? Like I just wonder like what they could do to train, like on a solar array outside, right? You could probably just let it burn, right? Obviously.
To be honest with you, the nice thing is we have a solar instructor within the firehouse that just did
Oh,
a
that's good.
entire
Yeah,
class
Oh,
on
nice.
everything that we're talking about right now.
that's good.
So
Oh, good.
I don't have
Yeah.
any concerns with that.
Very good.
Yeah, we're fortunate that way.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Is it?
And we used to kind of be under the impression to like run scared from these things, and after you know, we took some classes on them, it's really not, it's not as bad as we always thought it was.
I've seen a lot of safety bulletins go up, like there's one building that caught on fire, and then another couple of safety bulletins, like if the sun's shining, there's juice coming to me, so a lot of electricians are getting zapped, arc flash stuff, because when, you know, it's not like you just shut the power off, you shut a breaker off, if the sun's out, there's power coming through.
John and I talked also that once it's installed, when our installation and project management team on the construction side is out there, that they can walk John through all the shut-offs and disconnects and just make sure that he's has the tools that he needs to access those things, which will all be on ground level. You don't need to get on the roof to work the disconnect.
Yeah, this isn't the type of project that requires your sign off, because they're not inside a building doing anything. But I'm happy that you reached out to him and you guys have worked this out and have that sort of understanding. And maybe that's something we work in to the book for later. I'll make a note, but that's good, thank you. Appreciate that, because it's all about safety, really, everything that we try to do.
Sorry.
Any other questions? I know that in the literature it said that you were starting the project this spring.
That's the plan, pending this approval and then following this with the building permit and electrical permit.
And how long for construction?
The actual installation on our side for a project this side will probably be weeks, if not a couple of months. It goes pretty quickly. Mostly it'll be staged and then laid out, and then it won't be turned on until CMP can get out there to do their piece of the transformer. But probably all start to finish would be a couple months.
Right, okay. And I see that you went over the site plan review requirements, which I don't think barely any of them really applied.
Correct, yeah, because we're not expanding any developed area on the property. It's all within the roof. There's no changes essentially to what's at the property now in terms of developed area or impervious or boundaries or anything like that.
Right, and normally they would, if it was going on the ground, there'd be tree cutting and stormwater and all that kind of stuff. Where you're right on the roof, which is already done, there's really none of that.
Correct.
So thank you for filling that out.
What's the life of one of the solar panels that gets mounted up there?
They, with good maintenance, are anticipated to last probably 40 years. You can swap out parts. Most of them are warranted more in the 15 to 25 year, but there's no reason to believe that they won't work. The production efficiency essentially is on a curve where it will become less productive over time, but in general, they can keep producing as long as they're maintained on a yearly basis. So,
what's involved in maintenance?
so the actual data is coming all through the web, and if there's any production changes that are outside of a certain percentage range, then you can identify maybe there's a module on a string that's ineffective or something like that. In terms of other maintenance, it's just mostly visual, making sure that wires are clean, modules are clean, connection points are clean, and going back to the production to make sure that you're within that range. It's similar to a lot of other electrical systems of just, you know, good organization and making sure that there's no animals, birds, things like that. And so,
Building a nest or something, I suppose.
so that just is part of the having somebody out there once a year. A project of this scale is, all things considered, pretty small. It's a pretty big roof mounted project, but compared to a large ground mount, there's not quite as much that is being maintained for it.
Sure.
Yeah. I think the only other question I had is that I'm assuming that putting the panels up there and all the parts and pieces is gonna be plastic, and you're on a roof in a windy area, it's gonna be flying around. What's your plan for keeping the refuge from blowing?
During
During
installation?
installation, yeah. I know afterwards there's not gonna be really anything up there.
Yep,
but-
so there won't be too much up there during the actual installation. The modules all come on a pallet and they'll be raised to the roof. And then the pallets removed after that. But they're not individually wrapped in plastic or anything like that. And any of cardboard would be removed at ground level. The waste during construction is really just, like you said, cardboards and plastics and pallet. Usually we'll work through dumpsters with like a Casella or somebody like that. If there's a lot of pallets, they'll either be hauled off or in some cases just given away if people are interested.
Put them at the end of the driveway.
Yeah, put them down and drive with a sign.
Yeah, they usually go pretty quick. So there shouldn't be loose waste on top of the roof, and then for the actual crews working up there, I don't remember the height of the roof edge, but they'll put safety rails around the edge and then have fall protection and things like that for actual workers where it's needed.
Okay, perfect. That was the only other question that I had.
I don't have anything.
No?
Good.
We have a motion, Jerry?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Jim has seconded it. Any other further discussion? Any questions, comments from anyone else?
We do
besides
snow
me?
load. With the snow load, and with it, seems like you're gonna have more weight in snow.
Yep, yeah, a piece of the evaluation that is done prior to the planning is the structural assessment of the actual framing of the building, which accommodates, you know, the load for existing mechanical systems, the added load of the solar, as well as the snow load. So that is all kind of plugged in, and then the racking manufacturer who designs the ballasted system for our array takes into account wind and snow and our layout, and then says, you know, you need X number of rows of ballast and anchor points is needed, so that's all.
Just curious, I mean, how you get it off, and you get a whopper of a storm, it's all up there.
Yeah, I guess it's just like any flat roof, you let it melt and your array is less productive if it's covered in snow, but it won't be an active part of.
Just curious.
Yeah, same as the structural integrity of any, you know,
Gotcha.
large flat warehouse building.
You know,
Design that building because they had it specifically engineered for.
oh, they were planning it
So
down the
they
road,
planned
huh?
ahead, which was.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, any other questions, comments? No? All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve as presented. No other comments, all those in favor? And you've got
There you go.
unanimous
Perfect.
approval. I need to do the form.
Is Steve Hinchman associated with Revision?
He was the lead counsel for many years and is on a year sabbatical sailing his boat to
Thank you.
the Caribbean right now.
Excellent.
So he's,
You must have a bigger boat than he had.
he has been generally removed from all work since last September to be on the boat.
Oh, good for him.
Some-
You know what he has for a boat?
I don't, but for a long time it was the background of his Zoom call, so I probably should know.
You said you're planning to do that in the spring.
Yeah, we usually do roof installations once weather is, who knows, maybe spring is happening this week, but once we mobilize, it's good if we can avoid being hung up by big storms.
I see, the one thing I think that we did discuss is that this approval is good for a year. But I'm
Yeah.
assuming that you're gonna be getting to it before then, so.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
keep that in mind.
yeah, no, we'll go over it. I can talk to you as soon as tomorrow about building permit payment and things like that, and then, yeah, spring would be, is acceptable.
All right.
You should heat your, when it snows, it won't have a problem.
Yeah, because
You know.
I'm sure fire chiefs everywhere
Don't
love
you need a copy of
the electric grid.
I'll
Converter
get
counts
this one.
there.
Okay.
Or just redirect some of the energy.
Yeah, they do, especially on the ground mounts, because the modules are essentially black and glass, they do heat up and kind of slough the snow off pretty effectively, but a little less less though on the flat roof.
Do they produce enough power for both South Portland and West Bath?
Yeah, I believe so. They designed, so the way that the kind of the paraphrase in the net energy building works is
I'll
around,
put this together for
you
you.
can't really produce more than you can use, so it's, the system size is designed around what their combined use is, so it should not really be a big for them.
All right, I think that this one has the second authorization letter in it.
I think it was emailed, so John should feel.
Right, I just wanna make sure.
No, I saw it, it was in my package.
Was it?
Yeah.
With 2 signatures on it though?
With the what, signature?
There should be 2 signatures on it.
There was a
Yeah.
amended,
President,
amended letter.
isn't that everything?
No, that's the director of special projects, so we asked for, it has to be an owner. John's got it, I know he does, I just wanna make sure it's in there, that's all. I wasn't in detail, right? Yeah, that would be good, thank you.
This is a nice warm up for the solar project.
Oh, I had a question about the fee.
Thank you very much.
It says here on their application there was a $200 fee that you charged them? Or no, the application says $200 on it, is that what was
Yeah, that's what it said on there a couple months ago. I
It was
didn't
the commercial solar is $250. Yeah.
You need an additional $50.
You can settle up with them when you do the building permit
Okay.
and
Double
whatnot.
check and
It
see.
was a, thing on our end, so,
Sounds good. Yeah, I think, John, I can work it out, John.
yeah,
That's fine.
that's not anything that you got any control over.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you so
Okay.
much. Here. For solar permits. Official anyway. Nice. Interesting to have over there. Okay, next on our list, number 5, public information and comment. Is there any public information and comment this evening? No public information comment? Okay, see none? We will move on to old business. I think at the last meeting, when we had Jamie and Gabe's new, you've got your MMA book and your ordinance, right? The maps, I think, were there little maps?
The zoning maps,
Yeah, and I think, Jerry, didn't you want one?
Yeah, if I
too?
can get one.
That would be where those are.
on the first filing cabinet, that you cabinet down.
Jim, you weren't here, do you have a small zoning map?
Yes, I am.
You do, okay.
It's the small rate on that, right?
Right, yeah.
It's like a legal size.
Just a
That
little bit.
that one.
Perfect. And that was,
As amended 2016.
yep, 2016 it will be.
Does somebody need one?
I need one. You
You
have
have an
two?
extra?
I don't know why, but I do.
Maybe you
Look
took
at
mine.
that.
Maybe you took mine, Jim.
Or you gave it to me.
Oh, come on.
Right my
No.
name on it. Mine's even lost.
I think they all are.
True, it
I
says.
think somebody brought an application in and
Maybe.
included it with it, so I just.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and then the MMA classes. Did did you sign up for an MMA class yet, Gabe?
No.
Was there one available?
I think there was the one that Max was having, right?
Yeah, there was the one that Max had on the. It was recent, in January. I sent everyone the information on that.
It wasn't through MMA, it was through Max. It's
Right, through COG. So
I don't know, I
that
don't
was,
think I got that one, so that's fine.
I'll check on upcoming MMA classes.
Yeah, it's
Is
a,
that the Max that didn't show up, or he had?
yes,
For the
yeah.
comp plan, yeah.
At the comp
He's
plan.
okay?
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
okay, yeah, he was okay, he was late at a meeting and, couldn't make hours, but yeah, we were worried, because it was unusual for him to be not showing up and being late and not calling, so he's fine. So, yeah, so the MMA class is, for new select board members, to give you an idea of the rules and procedures and that sort of thing of planning board meetings.
Great.
It's a big, thing, it's pretty good stuff. A lot of it's in that MMA book that you have right there too, but it's good, yeah, you're there, there's a bunch of different people, and you can ask whatever questions you need to, and it's a good class to take, and they're doing them now. I had to actually go to Portland, I think, or Augusta to take mine, but they're all on Zoom now, so you can do them from home.
Okay.
So that would be good if you could try to get into one of those
Yeah.
whenever they have it.
I think they were offering it in person, too.
They might be doing them back in person again.
But it was either or.
I
Oh,
got,
no.
they just gave us, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's got a book. All right, so what was the other thing? Next we've got application updates. So last month, Jim, you were here, we did the non-conforming application. We approved that, and put it into use.
This is the general one?
No, the we
Non-conforming
actually
what?
approved the non-conforming one, yep.
Okay.
And then, we also approved the change in the language on the website for the applications, that's 15 days and that, 7 copies, 3 small, that sort of thing, so we did that too.
Yeah.
And then I think
Good.
we also approved the same changes, same sort of language, it goes on the top of all of the applications.
Okay.
But Carly, were you able to get those into the applications? The very tops of all of
Those are
them?
all online.
Okay, I'll check again, because I looked yesterday and they were still the old ones. So maybe there's something going on with the website?
I printed these off from online, did they not look right?
I don't know, I didn't get a chance to look at them yet.
Is there another set of different copies?
Go back to
Oh, yep,
the non-conforming one. I mean, that's essentially the one that
Yes.
I worked on and
yes,
proposed. I don't see
Yep.
No changes, okay, good.
yep, no, that's,
And
we were,
I see percent of floor area, volume and so forth.
right, we were very, very close to having that finished. And then just at the January meeting, we brought it in, we looked at it, we approved them, and Carly was
Great.
nice enough to put them on the website for us, so that is done. Yeah, I think, Carly, if you can just check to see if those applications have been updated. Yeah, I see, like, this is the generic one. It's still got like 3 copies.
I don't know how that happened.
I thought maybe it was maybe a website's weird. Maybe it did some sort of weird thing. So there was that. And then we talked last time about LD 2003 update, which is the changes that the state is mandating for zoning density on lots. And then last month, Carly had printed out some information that the state had for us. And we discussed talking to, having Max Johnstone come in and discuss it with us to try to give us an idea of what we need to do moving forward, because these new rules are supposed to be coming into effect on July 1st. And time is running out to be able to do any changes on the ordinance before our meeting, which is the town meeting this year in May or June?
I don't think you said it yet.
Okay, so sometimes it's in May, sometimes it's in June, and this is February, so we're trying to figure out ahead of time what we need to do to be able to do some updates, and if we have to do updates. So we talked about having him come and talk to us about it. And since Max is working on the comp plan and I'm on the comp Plan Committee. I was gonna talk to him about that, but like you said, Jake, he didn't show up that night.
Right.
So I gave him a phone
Thank you.
call. I called Max, and he talked to him for a little bit about what we were trying to, just that we're trying to figure out how to navigate this. And he said that the state was coming out with their draft language that could be kind of like just put right into our ordinances in certain places, but they hadn't gotten it yet. It was 2 or 3 weeks late, I think, from when the state had promised it. And then, strangely enough, and he said, so when he got it, he'd send it to us so we could look at it. And then, like 2 days later, he's like, hey, guess what? They just published it. So what I asked Carly to do is just make copies for you guys. It's this state, oh, mine looks weird. I can use the other one, because I printed it off on my
So I
computer.
printed off 2 things. The first one, which has the blue web address on the front page, is what Matt sent over. And then the state of Maine had the language for the LD, so I just printed that off. To give it a look, see if you guys want to do that.
Right, and I think the notice of agency rulemaking proposal, that is what Matt sent to me, saying that this was their draft language. And that it would give us an idea of what we had to change. This is definitely, I think, something that we need a workshop for. There's a lot in here. He did agree to come and meet with us. We sort of talked a little bit about, is it more appropriate to do it before our regular meeting? So like at 5 o'clock and then have the meeting at 6? And we sort of thought it might go long and we didn't want to rush the board and trying to figure out what we should do. So he and I kicked it around, and if you disagree, that's fine, but we thought a different night than our regular meeting might work better. But if you want to have it on our regular meeting and do it beforehand, we can do that too. We were just worried about time frame of how much time we really wanted to talk about it, and that we'd be up against a 6 o'clock meeting that we had to start.
It's what
and not be
everybody would like to
finished
do.
with what you
I'm flexible.
were saying, so.
So what is the public hearing about on this? Like, is it, I don't understand about that. Does anybody know?
Is that because it has to be voted on as an ordinance?
This is the state's public hearing to listen to people, and their concerns and input, you know.
I thought
State
this was
can't-
already gonna take effect at a certain date in June, I thought,
It is July 1st,
July 1st.
but the state did that, and then they didn't provide the physical written guidance for any of the towns yet. And this is the first that there's been anything written, and that's a draft. And just like when we can't change ordinances without hearings, the state can't either.
Right.
They can mandate that you have to change something, but as far as their language and enacting it, they also have to have hearings too.
So it's definitely gonna pass though.
So things are still
Right.
evolving. So
Right. So I just wondered
Right.
if we're wasting our time until it's passed. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Well, it is passed, and it has to happen, and maybe Max can explain it better. But I said to him, I said, we're not sure what we need to do. Is this really gonna go forward on July 1st, if our first meeting in July, if someone shows up and has, you know, a higher density project that they wanna push through, we're concerned that we're not gonna have the tools that we need to address that. And so we'd like you to come in with your expertise and help us to figure out how we need to navigate it. Do we need to change our ordinances at our May meeting? And if we have to do that, then what is it that's really changing? And he said what's really tough is that they haven't even published the language yet, and then it came out 2 days later. So, from what he initially indicated, and we should all sit down and talk to him, because it's, you know, I was trying to set up a meeting and how to kind of do that, we sort of got in the weeds, but, that we're gonna have to do something, and that we should change our ordinances before July 1st happens.
So if this is mandated by the state, is it
Yes.
something that the town votes in on? We don't have a say in it.
Right.
The town still has to vote to adopt the changes to
Right.
the ordinance,
Even though it's mandated. I'm just curious, I get,
So I asked him,
Can nobody can even vote against it, right, anyway, so what's.
They can.
So you, so you can, if we don't enact something, I think it's a big problem, because someone's gonna come in and say, hey, it's a state rule and you're supposed to do this.
You can be more
True.
strict on it, can't you?
True, we don't have to do it, and then they'll come back and they'll be angry with us that we didn't do it, it's kinda like doing reval, but I think that it's better that we're more prepared, and, so, yes, we can just not do anything.
No, I wasn't
But then we're gonna, someone's gonna show up in July or August, and we're gonna be, what do we do?
They absolutely are going to show up.
Absolutely.
People are waiting
So,
on the
right,
sidelines.
and so, you know, I just really
Yeah,
like
I think
us
it's
to
good. I
be
think it's gonna be
prepared. And I asked him specifically, I said, if we can't get our stuff into the ordinance in time, and someone comes in, do we supersede our ordinance with what the state one says? He says, you are much better off incorporating your stuff into the ordinance. So it wasn't, there wasn't really a clear answer, besides, you really ought to get your ordinance changed. So, and he's been dealing with a lot of towns doing this. They've been having him look at it. I think it's just tougher for us because our timing was a little off, because the comp plan has to be,
Oh, I think
Done.
all towns are gonna struggle with this.
and he did say
There's so
that.
much
He says,
detail, and
he
there's
says
so many
many-
requirements, and it's,
yeah,
everybody's gonna struggle with this. I'll be
Yeah.
surprised if the legislature doesn't, make some changes in the next couple months.
I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
Well, then extend the enactment date too then. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna make a change, then I can't imagine they would stick to July 1st.
Right, that'd be one thing to do, is to push that out.
It's,
It wouldn't,
But I would be agreeable to a workshop with Max, you know, on whatever day you think. You
I
know,
think-
we'll just pick a day.
I think that's really,
I mean,
it's on the.
Well,
We'll still,
then
we'll
there's
still learn a
something.
bunch.
it may not look exactly like what we're looking at now, maybe some other changes and so forth, but we're gonna have to do something.
Right, and
So it'd be good to know at least something about what our parameters are.
yeah, and he's doing this with a bunch of other towns, same size, same deal, and so, I mean, I think he's the best, he's the most efficient, he'd be the person to give us the most efficient way to move forward with this, especially knowing our ordinance and the stuff that we're doing with the comp plan. So, having said all that, I mean, the whole board needs to go and sit down and talk to him, it's not just me, so, I asked him, he said 6 o'clock is good for him. I didn't know if he wanted to come earlier, but 6 o'clock is good. And that he can't do it on the 15th, the 16th, the 27th, or the 28th of February, which is like tomorrow and Thursday anyway. I think he said the 22nd would be best, but he could do it any other day.
The 22nd, we have marine resources here, so that's not a great day for this room.
Is it possible that we, in order to make sure that we can get this in and accommodate him, because he's flat out too. Suzanne, is it possible for us to use the fire station instead if it coincides with another?
I usually go to the
Meeting.
marine
Well, I'm the
resource.
recording
Oh, you go to
secretary.
okay, gotcha.
I'm the recording secretary for both those committees, so it would also be beneficial to have them on separate nights.
But I think Tuesday nights, is there any of those nights Tuesday night? I mean,
What were his
Tuesday
dates
nights
again?
usually-
Okay, so not the 27th or the 28th.
Okay.
So,
So maybe the 21st?
so we're talking about next week, because he said also not the 15th or the 16th, which is Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So basically next week,
Monday's President's Day, so it's
or,
closed.
yeah, either next week or in March. So the 20th, yeah, is a holiday, so we can't do it on a holiday. 21st, 22nd, 23rd, I think probably a Friday is not a good day.
How was the 21st for everybody?
Good.
What day is it?
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
21st is a Tuesday?
Or even March 7th?
From today.
March 7th. You thinking about coming to this too, John?
I certainly could try, I can if it's this
Do we
coming
have any
Tuesday.
other papers? We
I
don't.
can't make that,
Not next Tuesday.
right.
So
So
then maybe
the,
we
so
ought to
the
think about,
21st, John can't do, okay.
so maybe we should be thinking about the 7th.
Or the 28th.
Is
He
it
can't do the 20th, I thought.
Did he
But
say?
I mean,
He
I
can't
I
do.
certainly wouldn't say delay it on my account, I can certainly get caught up by somebody.
Yeah, it'll be soon enough. I'm sure. I mean, things are
Well, it's
gonna
not
change
finalized
anyway.
either.
And
No.
it may be more than one meeting.
But you
So
shoot the
let's-
21st and then,
So let's try for the 7th and then at least Jonathan's open.
7th?
What about the 23rd? It's a Thursday. Oh, that's selectmen night.
No, we don't have, we're on this, are we on the 23rd?
We do not have a meeting the 23rd.
We have the 16th.
I can't do the 23rd.
You can't do the 23rd.
Just
Yeah,
just do
it's
the
always
21st, and I'll get Jared, catch me up.
I can do the 7th or the 28th, though. Or the 20th is out, sorry.
Can you do the 21st?
Or 27th, we could do a Monday.
He couldn't do it.
Couldn't do Mondays.
I don't think he
Who?
could.
Because he usually
Max
does
do it?
comp plan on Mondays.
But I don't know, was he available on the 27th?
He did not give me, he's not available on the 27th. He did not give me dates in March. So if we move to March, I'll have to just ask him. He only gave me to the end of February.
21st.
So
So what's the date?
is the 21st, John, that's bad for you though, right?
It is, but like I said, I really basic.
I think this is gonna be
If
more
you
than a
guys can get
meeting.
together and meet, then do it.
Yeah,
Let's try him for the 7th. And then if Max can't do it the 7th, then let's back up to the 21st.
I like that idea. Does that work?
Yep.
You guys okay on the 7th?
Yeah, that's good for me.
Because the 7th is not our meeting next month, we're on the 14th again. All right, so
Tuesday.
the 7th, Carly, is the room available, 7th or the 21st?
First Tuesday.
Or 21st?
No,
And the 22nd is a no-go for people?
Oh, wait.
Not really,
Does that not work on the 7th?
no, it
So
doesn't.
the 7th doesn't work for him either, so we should go back to maybe the 21st.
Okay, does the 22nd,
Then the order is up to you.
Yeah, the
Oh, that's right, that was
21st, the
yeah,
21st,
okay.
no on the 7th work for me. So, like I said,
Well, and it'll be recorded, so you can always
yeah.
watch it at a later date.
Alright, so then,
21st.
so we're back to the 21st is the first choice and then the 7th?
Gabe,
Is
can
that
you do the 21st?
consensus?
That's fine.
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I gotta imagine that MMA is gonna put out a bunch of training.
And I have the feeling it's gonna be like recreational marijuana, where they're gonna set up rules, and then they're gonna change the rules. But at least with that, it was.
I mean, I think we'll still learn a lot by talking to Max, I'm not saying
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not a good idea, but I think there'll be a lot of webinars, and I gotta imagine that we can attend in addition to this.
Right, my fear.
No, I think it's still a good idea to
Yeah.
talk to Max, I'm
No.
not saying that.
And my concern is the amount of time that we have in between now and the town meeting.
Yeah.
If
Well,
we're
I
gonna
would,
make any sort of changes.
I wouldn't worry about town meeting, because I think this could be a special meeting.
Okay, then I'm worried about now and July 1st, which is right after town meeting, so I don't think we have a whole lot of extra wiggle room in there, time-wise, to do ordinance changes and their.
And I think people are sitting on the sidelines just waiting for this to pass.
Right, and I think that we should give this its due diligence so that we're prepared and so that we can,
Address it.
address that and make sure that everybody is taken care of well when they come to do that, you know, and I think that we're not alone. Max said that
Right.
lots of towns are having this issue right now, and they've been working, and I just think that we're at a little bit of a disadvantage because we weren't planning on doing anything for the town meeting this year, and all of a sudden, there's this, so we'll make it work, but it's gonna be a thing. There's gonna be some nights and stuff for workshops, so, all right. Anything else about that? You guys have questions or anything. I think this,
So we're shooting for the 21st?
the 21st will be option number one, and if he can't do the 21st, I'll ask him about the 7th. And then I'll just let you guys know. And obviously Carly will work out the room and reserve it and that sort of thing. And then that will give you some time to look at this literature before we meet with him. I don't think it's beneficial for us to take time to do that tonight.
No, we don't need to.
I'd rather, right, and I'd rather get his sense of what to do from it, really, so. Alright, so that, what was that? New business, very briefly, what time is it? Oh, it's only 10:07, very good. So new business, I had hoped that we could start a little bit of work on applications, again, to rejuvenate that effort. We've worked really hard over the last few years trying to do some very specific work for applications, to make specific applications for certain things, so we're not using our generic application that just has general information in it. We did the home occupation.
Yep.
We just finished the non-conforming. We've done some updates on how many copies you have to bring, all that good stuff. So there are more to do. We had 2 of them tonight. We don't have a specific application if someone has a new business. If there's a building where they're gonna move into with their new business, we don't have something that's very specific to that, it's just a generic application. So, there's new business. There is site plan development, we're still using a generic application for that. We actually need 2 different applications, there's the preliminary and the final for that one. There's solar farm, that is a large solar farm. There's solar farm that's a small solar farm, and technically, realistically, the large one is a commercial one in a big field, and the small one is maybe on someone's roof or in their yard for just their use. So that's 5, up to 5. And then I was looking at the back of the book with the fee schedule, and there's also windmills, and there are towers. And then there's a commercial alteration or expansion, which would probably be the last on my list, but of wants, because you could use a generic for that. The towers, is there a tower coming to town right now?
We
Suzanne?
donated a piece of town land for the Saginaw Communications. I don't know if they move forward with that.
There's cell towers, they're always trying to, I get probably 3 letters a week asking to buy a piece of my land from them, so.
Yeah, so we have requirements for cell towers to come to town. We haven't had anyone do one.
We donated something up
But we
by
don't
the
have-
transfer station.
Okay.
We did, the town donated to Saginaw for their communication
So are
now.
they planning on putting one up?
Where
right
is it
on?
from? Where's the land?
Trade off, no.
It's behind the old rest area.
Okay.
It would, in theory, there's potentially a solar farm going there. It would be adjacent to that, but not shadowing on it with a 75-foot away. But, I mean, we talked about letting them have it rent-free as a goodwill gesture for the county.
Nice.
But it's my understanding that the height that they want exceeds our land use ordinance, so I think the attorney's researching that to find out the best way to address that.
Okay. Yeah, they're aware they have to come for an application, all right?
Yeah, there's nothing,
Okay.
We just said we would donate it, we didn't say.
That's fine. I saw it in one of the minutes and I was just wondering because we hadn't heard anything about it.
it's long-term, it's
Yeah.
not short-term.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8, a list of 8. Was there anything else that you can think of that has come up? But interestingly enough, tonight it was the large solar farm and new business. And they used the generic form, so I think, we can get back to it. And in the past, what you guys know, but Gabe, we've sort of taken the list and divided it up amongst, members, and then kind of gone off and done our thing, and then come back with a draft. And then we all kind of go through and make sure that whatever's in it mimics what's in the ordinance, with what's required, and that sort of thing. And then we kind of together mark them up and adjust them and approve them, and then they go into effect.
So we've done home occupation.
Home occupation's done, non-conforming is done, all of the subdivision ones are done.
Okay.
The site one, I have 80% done. So if we're splitting them up, I will take that one, or those two, and finish those, if you guys are okay with that.
So that would leave what?
That leaves new business,
Yeah, I'll do the solar.
and then solar, they'll be very similar, I think, the large and the small. Do you are you willing to do both, or you wanna split that up?
No, I can do
It's up
both.
to you. Okay. So that's Jim.
Unless somebody else wants it, of course. I won't fight over it.
Jerry, you want new business?
Sure, yep.
Or,
I'm really not sure we need one for windmills.
no one's come before us for it. Yeah, I mean, it's at the,
Maybe
the other ones,
the towers, because we might have something coming up, but still, that's one of the, you know, they're not having
yeah,
many
it's not,
towers for
yeah,
that.
it's
so.
not. It doesn't happen a lot. We have a lot of new businesses.
I think the new business one would be good, site plan would be good, and solar, and if somebody would like to do the solar, that'd be fine, I wouldn't. Yeah.
A couple other ones that were mentioned before were food trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Temporary.
Right, we were
Temporary.
talking about a temporary, but there's nothing even in the ordinance about such things, and I think, you're right, we did mention it, and I think we were trying to figure out how we would add that into the ordinance also. Because technically we can't ask for stuff that isn't in there.
Because that comes as a new bit, like, we had that come with, as part of Trenton for a new
Right.
business, but it was also a temporary facility.
Right, I mean, and it's on here, I'm pretty sure. Temporary structure food truck, it's right there.
I think that Gabe's name all over.
And I think that, does it? And
I'd love to see how all this works before I jump in feet first.
he's smart, he's
Oh,
keeping,
go ahead.
he's keeping smart. You can be a great reviewer of everybody's
I
work.
can review. I got a lot of stuff to review.
Well, we all do it, so
Yeah, no,
It's sort
I'm
of
not
a-
against it.
it's a community effort. It's
Sure.
just
We can start with
easier.
those anyways, right? I'll do the new
Yeah.
business. You're
Yep,
gonna do the solar.
yep, and I will work on, the site plan one.
Whichever new business is very
And-
close to temporary business,
Oh,
just saying.
And so
If it's
you're-
temporary, I don't think you need a permit for anything, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. Temporary is the key.
And just so that we remember, and that's why I had Carly print these, the generic general one and then the non-conforming, because this is like the most recent one that we've done.
Okay.
So the format's like this, and
Okay.
then the general one is just to say what's on the general one, and that it's not specific at all. But if you remember, try to use the format of the non-conforming one. So we've got the questions and then the checklist, but then it has to be tailored to what's physically being asked for in the land use ordinance.
Do you have these as Word documents?
Cause you could, Carly has
Send
the
them out
most
so that
recent,
people can-
as a Word document, thank you for reminding me, I was gonna ask if you would send the non-conforming out
Okay.
to everyone, because it has the checklist that you can use and steal and kind of fill in with the different stuff. I think the non-conforming lot application one's probably the easiest, or the most recent that we've got. And I know it's good to like research other towns, but we have to be really careful that we're not asking for things in these applications that other towns ask for, but isn't physically in our book. So just keep that in mind. And it doesn't mean that another town doesn't have a great idea, but we have to kind of try to stick to this.
Certainly.
And then, in the same token, if you see something somewhere that's a great idea that we should have in the ordinance, by all means, mark your ordinance up and we'll use it
Yeah.
for when we do our ordinance changes.
Yeah.
You know, we're always kind of evolving these things. So that's that. And I think, unless anyone has anything else for new business,
I know.
no?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Well, we talked on and off about this chapter 1000 from
Yes.
DEP.
Yes.
And the developers, chapter 1000 is the section of DEP ordinance or laws, rules that say, govern what happens on the shorefront. The 30% expansions in there. And in 2015, they came up with a alternate plan, which the developers of these non-conforming lots seem to really like. And other towns have adopted it. There's this alternate, and I can't remember now the details, that has to do with setback from the water and height and so forth. And it would either be 30% or this alternate rules.
So there's an alternate, Jim, to the 1,000 or something different you're saying?
It's all in chapter 1000.
Okay.
This is a revised section of 1000.
So
So what I'm hoping is, we've doodled around with this for a couple of years now. So it'd be nice if we could move something forward with that chapter 1000, because, you just, when you think that nobody can do any more expansions because they've all been done, we'll get another one that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And if it would allow some flexibility and you wouldn't get these weird flat roof designs and so forth, I think it would be a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And it's just a couple paragraphs out of the new, the revised chapter 1000 thing that were added in 2015. Because we've got most of that chapter 1000, which is the 30% anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We've already got that. And the way that the DEP rules say it's be either or. And it's up to the applicant to decide which rules they're gonna go by. The 30% volume and area, or this height restriction in square footage.
So you're saying that towns are only using part of the 1,000?
No, I'm saying that we already have quite a lot of section 1000 in our ordinance. And so we just need to add in what was added into the rules in 2015. And that's what other towns have done, is they've added in this option to use setbacks and area and height
Right.
as a criteria. And I can't remember the specifics right now. but-
You're saying just find it in this 1,000 and then adopt that,
Yeah.
those couple paragraphs, whatever.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
what I understood, Jim, is they were taking away, the towns that adopted it, they got rid of, like, the way that we do it with volume and square footage. They threw that away and adopted this new style that they came out with, and again, I'm not educated on it either, but it's based on footprint height.
It's how close the existing building is, and it limits the height, and then it's got a maximum amount of square footage, depending on how far from the water it is.
Okay.
But my understanding was, and the other towns, is that they've taken the DEP's rules and they've applied them to their ordinance, which would be an either or, either 30% or the new rules for setbacks and heights and stuff. But if you'd like, I'll just I'll update myself on that and I'll bring it to maybe if we have time at the workshop or whatever.
Yeah,
But I can bring some things forward. But we've had so many people in here talking about this. And Brunswick's done it.
I've heard it mentioned quite a
Yeah.
bit.
And I know everybody I talk with in Brunswick about it seems to say, oh, this is really good, this solves my problem.
Makes it easier from what I understand.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all for easier. at this point.
Well,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
approaching the end of the comp plan before it's almost complete.
Yeah,
And I know that Max's next project will be all of our ordinances, so there's, I mean,
yeah.
we hopefully will have the comp plan fully ready by the town meeting for all of that to move forward. I think that's a plan. And then we'll go right into a full review and ordinance that changes, adoptions.
Well, if you'd like, that workshop, I'll bring in that stuff so people can think about it, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
And
I mean, and I'll update my memory on the specifics.
yeah, and I think everyone agrees with we'd like it easier and we'd like to incorporate. I just think we've been not able really to do any updates and waiting for the comp plan to be done so we could do the updates. So maybe,
We
I
do
think
that
it's,
well, we do that waiting part well.
yeah, but no, I think it would be great if you wanted to dive into this and be our, SME, subject matter expert.
Not a smurf, but a SME, okay.
Not
I
a
can do
smart,
that.
but a SME, subject matter expert, cause it's 55 pages. And to try to
We'll
figure
throw
out
away,
where that little part
we'll
is.
throw away
Because,
one or two.
right, a lot of this we do have in our book already. It's just finding those
Right.
pieces and figuring out exactly where to put it into the book.
Well,
I think
I'll do
it's a great
something
idea.
for the next meeting,
I agree.
and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
And it's not a thing that I thought has to be done, thing, but your point is well taken, Suzanne, that, you know, I know, but we've
We're super close.
been waiting and waiting, you know.
It's, the comp plan's important so that we can apply for more grants, because we're prohibited in some cases from that, without having a current comp plan.
I did see too, there was an opportunity for some grants in this chapter, in this notice of agency rulemaking proposal.
Oh, the
That
state.
there's a $25,000 and a $50,000 grant available to towns to help them with their ordinances. And this, you know,
Okay.
part of
Do you,
this,
did you get a copy of this? I think.
Is it in your file?
No, I only have the two application changes.
no, you can have mine. That's,
Maybe that's,
oh, I'm sorry.
something
Oh, I
to,
get that.
to
Because I printed one off already, so.
Do you have it? Okay, I'm gonna
to
put it
let
back in there.
Christine know about, and maybe look into that a little bit.
Okay, so that's all I have.
You gotta keep that thing
No,
moving.
thank you, I think,
I'm trying,
it's
man.
great to revisit it, and we need
So
to,
by the end of the day, it's so angry. It's gonna-
And I'll make
like,
coffee.
we all like to do that.
Yeah, it seems that way.
That's good.
I think you gave me a copy originally of the document, actually. I'm still working on that, so.
All right, anything else for new business that anyone has? All right, we move on to approval of minutes for January. Have you guys all had a chance to look at the minutes, or do we need to give you a few minutes to,
I'm good with it.
you good with them? I don't have, there's the one. I'm just asking for that. I'm not sure I got one, Carly. Let me look. Oh wait, I'm sorry, it's right here. Sorry about that, there's too many pieces of paper going on. All right, Jerry, you wanna give us a motion?
Is everybody good with them? You good?
Yeah.
Okay, motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second?
Second.
All those, further discussion before we vote? All those in favor of approving the minutes as written? Unanimous? Yes. Setting our next meeting date would be March 14, 2023. And again, just to reiterate, the 21st of February was our first choice and the 7th was the second for talking with Max. And 6 o'clock is good with everybody. Okay. Yep, 6 o'clock. I will reach
I won't be at the next meeting.
out to him and you won't be at the next meeting. Okay. Suzanne will not be at the next meeting. Anything else?
No, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn has been seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous?